Hello and welcome to Chat OK Podcast, where we walk you through, at the best of our ability, scene by scene of a movie and give our opinion on the scene and the movie in general. I'm your host, Dranking Thomas Hughes.
Hi, I'm Hayden, and I'm here.
No, I'm Connor, and I've got an upgraded mic, so it shouldn't be as shit this time.
And today we're also joined by Mini Garlic Bucket, aka James.
Hi guys, me James. I'm totally here. I'm not dead.
Sound a bit different there, James.
Yeah, you said
Nice.
you got a cold there, have you, James?
Yeah. It's cold.
Damn that COVID.
Oh.
Yeah, let's give that joke up already.
Oh god, he's gone now. Oh shit. He's died on camera. Fuck.
Well, that's him at the way then. Okay, so let's get straight into the business. So today we're starting our Christmas month as we discuss the Muppets Christmas Carol, released in 1992 by director Brian Henson, the son of the late great Jim Henson, the mind behind the Muppets. His son is known for directing Muppets Treasure Island and the Happy Time Murders. Yes, Hayden, he directed that film. He also lent his voice to characters in both of obviously those movies, as well as characters in the great film that Connor loves called Labyrinth.
Yeah, brilliant.
Muppets from Space, another film that Connor likes.
Yeah, Muppets from Space, brilliant.
In which he actually
can you tell the clip of the bear with the eyes and go, oh, I want that.
He was also in Return to Oz, the sequel to obviously the Wizard of Oz movie. The Muppets Wizard of Oz, ironically. And he starred in multiple episodes of Sesame Street when he was younger. The movie stars the legend that is Michael fucking Caine. Oh no, I swore already. Michael Caine just makes me swear.
You're the Michael Caine.
Got the bloody doors off.
He was. We obviously covered him in both the crappy George's Revenge movie and Kingsman: The Secret Service on the show. I'm not sure what I haven't said for him, so I'm just going to say he was in Cars 2. Journey to the Mysterious Island.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the main character's granddad.
Oh my god.
The Jack the Ripper thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain I've already said this, but he was in the Italian Job because you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
It's what you do.
The movie also stars, the usual sort of Muppet voice actor cast like Frank Oz, who was better known as Miss Piggy and Fozzie Bear, and obviously, Yoda in Star Wars.
Yeah.
We also have the late Jerry Nelson, who voiced Jacob Marley and Tiny Tim, as well as the Count in Sesame Street. We have Steve Whitmire, better known as Kermit the Frog, and Rizzo the Rat. And lastly, we have David Goles, I don't know how you pronounce that, who voiced the Great Gonzo and Robert Marley. The movie focuses on a retelling of the classic Charles Dickens Christmas Carol, where three spirits visit the grumpy Ebenezer Scrooge to tell him the errors of his ways. Well, show him, the error of his ways. But of course, this version, most characters are portrayed by classic Muppet characters, basically. Apart from Scrooge,
creepy, and the creepy fucking ghosts.
Oh, and the creepy ghost, the CGI ghost, and then whatever the puppets were for the other two.
CGI ghost, fat ginger Santa, and
know me better, man.
deaf but with a hunchback.
Yeah. The gaping hole in his face.
Let's go straight into this Christmassy film. So the movie opens with the song "It Feels Like Christmas" in the background, as you span over the city of London, learning of the cast involved and the boys
London with loads of American animals.
I do love those jokes, and they're clearly like Yanks, and they go, "Oh shit, yeah, sorry." Is it the Eagle joke later on? Yeah, and he's like, "This is the American way." Oh yeah, this is the British way. And obviously it spans over this city, showing all the cast involved to the voicing before we cut down to the street level, and we get a look at all the humans and Muppets involved in this. Some of the side characters that you see every now and again, and obviously these are the ones that live in the city. We then meet Gonzo and Rizzo, who actors and narrators for this movie. Gonzo claims he's Charles Dickens, but Rizzo points out he's not. But Gonzo says that he is, and he can prove it by telling the story, since he knows it at the back of his hand, and he recites it as the back of his hand. And he goes, "Wow."
So, yeah, it's one of those jokes that are obviously made for kids.
Even though this film is quite dark at times.
The source material is dark.
But then again, most Muppet films are slightly cheekily dark every now and again.
They're basically kidifying what was quite dark tales, anyways. That's how I see it.
If you want to see a darker version, watch the fucking Jim Carrey one.
The
animation makes it even darker.
I still prefer the Barbie one. Just saying, I prefer the Barbie one.
I've never watched that. I might enjoy that more.
That was a fucking good film, honestly.
He obviously starts telling this story, so he's on about the Marleys being dead at this point, and obviously they worked alongside a very mean, money-grabbing sod called Ebenezer Scrooge, played by the great Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Gonzo points out that Scrooge is about to come around the corner, and he does. Obviously, the camera goes all dark, the alleyway goes all dark as he descends around the corner, very much like Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Or James, one of them.
The song then kicks in of obviously how mean Scrooge is. Ebenezer Scrooge, there goes Mr. Humbug, there goes Mr.
No, this is the start of a running trend of Tom singing all the songs, and we have no idea what the fuck's going on.
I already forgot the rest of them, but oh well. So obviously he comes around the corner, the song plays, everyone starts singing it around, yada yada. He walks past everyone, it follows him, shows more Muppets involved, makes it to his place of work, and obviously then he turns to look at everyone, and they shut up and basically run off because, breaking the fourth wall and all.
That's basically when we first see his actual face.
Yeah, because obviously it's all sort of darkened, isn't it? And it's like
the lead up's good
from his neck point of view, isn't it? Most of it.
Yeah, they don't actually show his face until the very end.
Until he turns around and goes, "Humbug."
Because they're building.
He turns into a third-person shooter. He just starts killing everyone.
Doomstar. but he obviously enters his place of work, and then we stick outside at first. We stick outside with Gonzo and Rizzo. He tries to look into the office, but they can't, since, as they say, the town's very dirty. So Gonzo just grabs Rizzo and just uses him to clean the window. For obviously, we then cut inside, where you have a nice little clean your camera there, Connor.
Yeah, with Rizzo.
He's doing what happened. He's reenacting.
Could you reenact it a bit? Could you reenact it better and just put your penis on the camera, please? Oh yes.
Wrong kind of video.
Oh,
this is the OnlyFans version.
This is the Patreon exclusive.
For just $5 a month, exclusive 18+ content.
We cut inside where we meet Bob Cratchit, played by Kermit the Frog in this version. Scrooge asks him who the guy sitting down is, and Bob replies, he's here to talk about his mortgage. But Scrooge just gets up, grabs him, and tosses him outside. Because Scrooge don't give no shits. And obviously then he's like, Bob, get this work done by tomorrow. And he's like, but tomorrow, sir, it's Christmas. He's like, humbug. Wrap it up for me. He's like, oh, okay. He's like,
honestly, I feel like Scrooge, and for the start of the film, I resonate with him because I don't like Christmas either. All people, I like misery and everyone being upset and money. But apparently that's not the right way, and it's cruel. And just because I want to tax the orphanage, doesn't mean I'm a bad person just because all those kids were dying. Who gives a shit?
I'm pretty certain you're the one that Marley's then, aren't you? The fact there's a literal comment from them saying they threw the orphans on the street.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they started laughing because how cold they were.
With the frozen teddy bears.
Bob then asks Scrooge for some more coal for his bookkeeping staff, who are basically all rats, since it's freezing cold in there. But this angers Scrooge, who yells at them and says, "How would you like to be on the unemployment line?" And then they start. They start dancing, don't they? In like the sort of really warm outfits, like dun 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 dun. Dun.
Like Hawaiian outfits.
Yeah, a hula away, and obviously then we get Scrooge's nephew Fred, obviously a real person in this, since it'd be weird if he was a Muppet. Imagine that if Scrooge was the only real person, and even his family were Muppets, and you're like, wait, his mom's a Muppet, but how is that possible?
I mean, it would have been funny.
It would have been
Like-
funny, yeah.
Like, what if like the his nephew's like wife was like a Muppet instead?
Oh my god,
It's called Scrooge instead of Scrooge.
Scrooged, isn't that a film with Bill Murray?
Yeah, but I'm on about because he's screwing all the Muppets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, creative version.
He's screwing them out of the money and out of their opportunity.
Scrooge splooges.
Oh, that's even better.
And Electric Boogaloo too.
So yeah, he comes in and obviously starts acting all festive, but Scrooge again, he's like, humbug. And obviously Fred's like words towards Scrooge about Christmas and whatnot pleases all the bookkeepers who start like, obviously getting all yeah, woo, like cheering him and everything, but Scrooge just yells at him again, saying about unemployment line, like, okay. And obviously at this point then it's pointed out by Gonzo and Rizzo that they've obviously got inside, so they snuck in. So that it was when Fred opened the door, they quickly crept in behind him and got warmed by the fire, even though I'm pretty certain it's still going to be freezing in there for the fact that the fire's not even that ripe and hot. Especially the bookkeeping staff who have been in there are fucking freezing. It's definitely going to be cold for people coming outside. Then again,
There's a comment that it's colder inside than it is outside.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. So, put your fire on, Scrooge. Yeah, so then the door opens again and we're introduced to Bunsen Beaker and their not song that was cut from this movie. And obviously they asked for a donation, which is what led to the song, which was cut. The song is literally about trying to get Scrooge to donate. Obviously that didn't make the cut. There's like a certain other song which Connor will point out later on. Obviously they want the money for poor people, but Scrooge is just like sort of ignoring them. But Fred, he's a kind sod. He puts some money in there and goes, that's my donation and I'll leave you to it, Scrooge. And he obviously heads off out, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. And it basically puts a wreath on the door and shuts the door. And then we just watch Bunsen and Beaker just stand there quietly as Scrooge carries on working. It's like, and obviously he looks up and they're like, so money? He's like, well, I'll pay for them in the friggin' the poorhouses, so they can go live in there. He's like, just like, get lost. And as you say, Connor, as he walks out, he sticks his finger up at him.
He 100% sticks his finger up.
And he's like, And obviously then they obviously bugger off out, and Scrooge then basically sits back down, does his work, and the door doesn't knock, but you hear like a little sing-song outside, a little carol, and he opens it, has a look around, and then looks down. It kind of reminds me of the scene in Joker with the dwarf, when he looks around at first, and then looks down, and he's standing at the door. Because there's a little rabbit at the door, having a little sing-song, who shuts up as soon as Scrooge locks eyes with him. And it's like, oh. And Scrooge basically just shoves him off and shuts the door. But then he opens the door and just yeets the wreath off the door at the rabbit before shutting it up again. But then back inside, Bob eventually convinces Scrooge to basically shut the shop up for Christmas the next day, since no one else will be open, so no business will happen, so what's the point in keeping it open? He's like, oh, okay, fine, you can have Christmas. And obviously leaves him to shut up and heads on out. Obviously after Scrooge leaves, the staff basically slowly close up while having a little sing-song of one more sleep for Christmas. And obviously they head off outside, continue the song while dancing down the street. And not the really crappy David Bowie song that was called Dancing in the Street.
I got that on vinyl.
And obviously they do some ice skating at one point. And Gonzo and Rizzo also join in, but Rizzo just goes flying off on the ice before the song comes to an end, and we then rejoin Scrooge, where Gonzo and Rizzo remind the audience that again, that Marley's are dead before whispering to make the scene more dramatic because the door knocker on Scrooge's door turns into the one Marley's face. And obviously scares Scrooge slightly. He's like, Marley? I mean, Jacob Marley isn't the first one.
I think so.
Yeah, because Robert Marley's just the additional one for this movie. He's like, Jacob Marley? Well, obviously, he just disappears back into the knocker and he's like, meh. It's humbug, nothing. But obviously, when it sort of slightly went, poosh, you had the moment where Gonzo and Rizzo went flying, and Gonzo's pretty much unconscious at the moment, and Rizzo's trying to wake him up. And then they're like, oh, quick, we need to get inside before we shut the door. And Rizzo's just like, oh, I'm just trying to find my missing jelly beans around here somewhere. But he's like, oh, nah, bugger it, I'll give up on that. And they tried to get inside, but the door's shut by now. They're like, oh, no. And then they sort of explain that Scrooge doesn't use his power in his house and basically just walks around with like a little candle because he's cheap as fuck. Because it's Scrooge. And obviously heads off into his sort of like fireplace, giant ass friggin' room he's got. And he sits down in his dressing gown and has a little meal.
He's got a little hat on.
Yeah, his little hat on. This is after he'd beat up his dressing gown because he thought it was a ghost.
Yeah, he got.
And he's like, oh no, it's my favourite dressing gown.
We've all done that though.
Well, yeah, we have, to be fair.
The pile of clothes on the chair.
It's middle of the night.
She's like, I walk into a room, see something, start beating up, and oh shit, I've killed James.
Explains why
he's not
here. But yeah, obviously he's having his nice little meal, and he starts getting bugged because the bell starts ringing above him. He's like, what? He's like, meh. And the fire goes out, and he starts going all chilly in there. The room goes all spooky. Then the Marley ghosts arrive and talk to Scrooge in my favourite sequence of the movie. And Scrooge basically just calls them fake. He's like, oh, you're not the Marley brothers. He goes, you're just like a food in my gut, not digested properly. And they're like, well, we are the Marley brothers. And I'll tell you why, because we're going to sing a song with Marley and Marley. Woo! And obviously they sing this. It is my favourite song of this entire movie. And obviously they just explain everything about the fact that if Scrooge carries on this way, he's pretty much in the grave and he's going to be chained up like them. But the fact they do train him up and say, you're going to be like us, so, you need to pack us all in there. And
basically stop being a knobhead.
Yeah, basically. And obviously they eventually end the song and say, the first ghost to visit you and the bell tolls one, and then make a very dramatic exit out the room with like, what's the last word they say when they leave the room? They disappear and you just hear like end scene or something like that. They say something like really like out of nowhere. It's like they've disappeared off screen. Well, no, they say changed, I think, or chained. But it's basically they say off screen, and you're like, what?
I honestly can't remember at all.
I can't remember that.
They say something off screen, which is obviously out of nowhere for no rhyme reason whatsoever. Obviously, then we cut to Gonzo, who explains basically what just happened to the audience before. Rizzo questions if that was too scary for the kids watching. And then he just goes, oh, do you want a jelly bean? They're in my pocket all along.
I mean...
I missed a bit when he drops them over the fence.
Oh, that's the bit. No, that's the
all
minute.
the narrations, I don't really get, to be honest.
The best part's the narrations from Gonzo and Rizzo. Because they're idiots.
I mean, to me, it falls flat. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, because you clearly did not grow up with this movie.
Yeah. I grew up with better ones, like Barbie.
I mean, Tom, you missed the whole thing of them telling him that he's going to be visited by 3 spirits.
Well,
It's pretty
okay.
obvious, though.
Yeah.
We've all heard the fucking story.
Exactly.
You all know what fucking happens.
Don't skip over that bit, though. And then the first spirit comes, which is more scary than any of the other ones.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, like, death, yeah, it's normal. Big fat guy, yeah, it's okay. But the fucking creepy, dull ghost thing.
We'll get to that when we get to it. But obviously, inside, Scrooge arms himself with his fire poker because, that's how you can beat a ghost with a fire poker. Then again, it is a Muppet, so maybe you could beat it down. I don't know how it works. Are they the same as us if we were ghosts? It just goes straight for them?
No, they're just soft, aren't they?
You can just beat them down with it, to be fair. Well, we've all seen Happy Time Murders. We know what happens in there. And obviously he goes to bed, and outside, Rizzo's on the roof, and Gonzo's like, "Oh, come on, just jump down." He's like, "Oh, okay," and he jumps down and splats into the snow. And they go, "Okay, let's get up there." He's like, "Oh no, I forgot my jelly beans," and he just walks straight through the fence, gets them, and comes back, and Gonzo's like, "You could have done that the entire time." He's like, "Yeah, you're an idiot," because Rizzo is an idiot. And obviously by this point, Scrooge has fallen asleep, and we then cut straight outside to them climbing the tree, where Gonzo starts going wailing at Scrooge, saying, "When the bell tolls one," and obviously the bell goes dong mid through his like ghostly thing to make it even more sort of dramatically ghosty, and the first ghost appears through like a bright light. As you say, it's creepy as hell. But the fact it's like is it CGI? Is it a Muppet just added like bright lights?
It's like a porcelain doll with like wisps around it. It's very fucking weird.
Creepy.
I really don't know what it is, but it's weird.
No, the first spirit's always meant to be like a bright light, pretty much, isn't it? So I think that's why they went with something like that. They tried to sort of keep it to the sort of Muppet style in a sense, but also still make it creepy and still sort of match the original sort of spirit in a sense, if you know what I mean. But
Just a very weird little thing, and the voice doesn't help it as well.
what do you mean like this?
Like a little Victorian girl. It's like, please.
Hello there, governor.
See, it's like in real life. I saw a ghost wearing modern day clothes. I'd be like, oh, that's stupid. But if I see a little Victorian ghost,
Connor's
that's
eyebrows would be
terrifying.
like in SpongeBob, the graveyard shift, and they're all waverly
Honestly.
when
my
they see the
God.
hash slinging slasher, and they're like, "Ah!" That'd be like Connor out in the corner of his room before bolting. Or that video you showed me, Connor, the other day with the vampire.
Oh my
Oh god! Oh god!
yeah.
Oh god! Oh god! Oh god!
Oh, literally, I can. Can you imagine like a Gen Z like ghost?
Honestly, I wouldn't be terrified at all. You'd probably try and get some rights or something and sit in my house.
Like a ghost like appear and they would start like fucking TikTok dancing.
Oh
So,
yeah,
fucking
doing the renegade.
renegading. Yeah, renegade.
Oh no!
And
Oh
like,
no!
oh, I'm so scared. Oh no.
Oh, it's creeping me out already. But yeah, obviously this ghost appears and starts talking to him. He's like, "You look a little bit young to be a spirit." And she just starts going, "Ooh." Okay, Scrooge a paedophile. No, he's not. But yeah, obviously the ghost then is like, "Oh, we'll fly out of here and we'll take you like to your past." He's like, "Oh, but spirit, I'm human." Right, he's like, "I'm mortal," isn't he? Something like that.
Yeah, more.
And if I go out that window, I'm just gonna go splat. Essentially, it's like, "Not if you take my hand, you won't." And Scrooge just takes. Yeah, Scrooge takes a little tiny. Take my strong hand. And they start flying out the window, but at the same time, Gonzo, he just got a fucking grappling hook and just grapples it around Scrooge's leg and slings him and Rizzo out the window, so that they're all flying away over London. Have a nice little look at it. You see all the, obviously it from above in the night time before a bright sort of portal light opens and they head on through. But because they're coming above like a forest, and Rizzo and Gonzo are too low, they just start slamming through every single tree along the way before they eventually land. And Rizzo's like, "Ah, we're safe now." And there's a cat behind him going meow, and Rizzo just shits himself and runs because he's a rat. And obviously then we get a sort of a cut to sort of Scrooge. He's like, "Oh, this is like my old school." So they head off inside before Gonzo tells Rizzo to stop playing around. So he runs inside and shuts the door, so the cat just plays straight into the door. Meow, 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 meow. And then we watch Scrooge, watch himself as a boy doing work and getting ridiculed by his fellow classmates. Scrooge says that he doesn't like Christmas. Yeah, just like the older Scrooge, and it's pretty much because he just wanted to get his work done. He's like, "Oh, this is like the perfect time just to get my work done." So essentially humbug Christmas. And the ghost like is then, "Oh, there's like another future. We can show you this, basically the same place." And she takes him off to basically a slightly older but still young Scrooge. And
Like 20 years old, maybe.
what did you say? He's 20?
I'm pretty sure he's meant to be like decent age because like he's like grown up. He's got like his first job and everything, isn't he?
I don't know. He doesn't look 20 unless he's just. I don't know. I reckon he's around 15, 15, 16.
Is he?
I'd want to say he's like around 20. I'd say when he gets to the next bit of the future, he's around 25 to 30. I wouldn't say he's 20 in this. I don't know. Maybe something we have to Google. We haven't got a Google here to do it, so we'll carry on.
We'll leave the
You
age.
can't be asked to do that.
Yeah. So obviously, then she takes him to the next bit of the future, and we meet Sam the Eagle, who's playing the headmaster here, who tells Scrooge that he's becoming a businessman. And obviously, we then see Gonzo and Rizzo basically destroy his shelf behind them. And obviously, this is all seen. They see the shelf going down, but they don't actually see Gonzo or Rizzo destroy the shelf. And it's like, huh? I was been to get that fixed anyway. And then obviously, basically Sam says everything he taught Scrooge is the American way, before Gonzo whispers it in his ear to go, oh yeah, sorry, the British way, because this is England, not America. Even though the Muppets are all Americans. Do 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 do. And obviously then the ghost takes Scrooge to eat another Christmas deep into the future, where he's got to be about 25 by this point there, pushing 30 maybe, because round it up. This kind of likes to do. And obviously it's Scrooge attending the Fozzie Christmas party, the annual Fozzie Christmas party, I might add, which is obviously where his first job was. And Gonzo lights a lamp outside, but sets Rizzo's tail on fire before just pushing him into a bucket of ice to put it out. And so then we cut inside where we see the Marley brothers, alive at this point, I might add. And Fozzie just does a very short speech, which they love because it's very short. Which is very unusual for those two characters, because those two Muppets are always arsey about everything. But then, obviously, we meet this timeline Scrooge, who complains that basically they're spending way too much money in this party. But Fozzie's like, oh, money doesn't matter, it's Christmas, so, just enjoy yourself, go have fun, you're young, go for it. And obviously then we see Animal, obviously he's in charge of the drumming, of course, of the band, as he usually is. And he just kicks this Christmas tune, it's like a rock concert tune. And everyone just goes crazy before Scrooge bumps into a woman called Belle, who is a friend of the family. The ghost asks him if he remembers her before, saying that there is another Christmas between, obviously, these two characters. And Scrooge's like, oh, Spirit, don't show me that. Please don't show me that. And the Spirit takes Scrooge off into this distant future, which is pretty, a couple of years down the line, I think, from this party.
I think it's like meant to be like next Christmas, like Christmas.
Yeah.
For that one.
And obviously in
I
this,
think a few years.
yeah, I'd say it's a couple of years down the line. And obviously in this future, we see that Scrooge and Bella are sort of trying to get married, but Scrooge is just like, oh, we haven't got enough money we haven't got enough money to put in a good house. And she's like, you're like the top dog at this company now. So what? How have you not got this money? He's like, oh, I love you. And she's like, you once did. And she leaves, and kind of take it away with the song that was missing from this scene.
Oh,
Right, so I'm not singing a song. Let's get that.
do it.
But there's like
Ding
a whole
it.
little song where she's singing about like she used to be in love with him and whatnot. And then you see Michael Caine, old Michael Caine, come up and he's there behind her singing and he starts crying. And then that's cut out of this one. But like apparently that's Michael Caine's favourite scene in the film as well. And they cut it out, so it's nice.
But you said it's in the Disney
It
Plus version.
apparently it's in the Disney Plus version now, but it was only in the VHS version before. So
I can't remember if it was on the Blu-ray. It's been a better year since I watched the Blu-ray. I'll have to test that out, see if it's on there. But yeah, obviously, with cut back to Scrooge in his bedroom, is it?
yeah, it takes him back to his bedroom and he wakes up again, doesn't he? Because he's had a dream.
And obviously, the clock then strikes 2, which leads to Rizzo asking if it's too early for breakfast. And he's like, well, yeah, it's clearly too early. It's like 2 o'clock. He's like, oh, okay, dinner time.
What about second breakfast?
And obviously Scrooge looks around can't see a ghost, and he's like, oh yeah, it's fine. There's no ghost now. But obviously the lighting, obviously his room where his big fire and whatnot is, that goes on, and then we see a giant ghost come in and go, "Come here, know me better, man." And obviously Scrooge just like heads in there. And this guy just fills this like entire room. He's like all the way up to the ceiling. It's like putting the Hulk in a kid's playhouse. And obviously,
You can like change size.
yeah, no,
right?
I don't know why he stopped. And again, it's big in the book, isn't it? The character's big in the book, I think.
Can't remember.
Because in all the other
Did
versions,
I read?
all the other versions I've seen, it's always like a giant in that as well. So I believe it's meant to be.
Yeah.
The base book is just a giant. But obviously, to get these scene, right in a minute, they have to do shrink him down a bit to get it right.
Yeah, it's always been like he was really, really, really fucking big.
Because
And also, it's like the only Muppet that's actually like a man in a costume, right?
Yeah.
I would say. And again, would the Reaper be someone in a costume? Maybe.
I don't class that as a Muppet though.
What? Because on their face.
It's just that it doesn't like resemble any kind of Muppet before. It doesn't even have like the features of it, I suppose.
That's racism against Muppet.
That's Muppetist. I'd say it was a Muppet for the fact that its texture, the cloak, it looks like a Muppet sort of clothing.
Yeah. That's probably like a costume as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it may as well get a costume for that, and rather than like puppeteer it.
He's
You
just
got-
wearing all the dead other Muppets as clothing.
Kermit covering his crotch.
Tiny Tim on his crush.
But yeah, I've lost my train of thought now. And obviously, he tells Scrooge that he's the ghost of Christmas present, and he repeats his line of "Come in and know me better, man." He's like, "Did I say that already?" And Scrooge's like, "Yes, you did. Are you dim?"
Are you absent-minded, spirit?
And he's like, "Oh, he says he's got. I mean,
I am.
he says he's got loads of brothers and sisters, isn't he?"
Yeah, like thousands. Because obviously the whole point is he's like the present. He's a moment. That's the idea. That's why he doesn't last that long. Because the present's always fleeting.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many. There's always like the present, but it always ends and it dies really quickly. It's like it's all a metaphor.
Yeah.
Writing.
And obviously, he had a little chat with him, and obviously, then he's like, "Oh yeah, well, come on then." And he shrinks down to his smaller size because he needs a little guy to walk around with Scrooge and have a little sing and dance. So he opens the window, knocking Gonzo and Rizzo to the street below. The ghost then teleports him and Scrooge into the street at night before the lights start coming on and people start appearing around him, and then he starts singing it. It feels like Christmas. It feels like Christmas. I never actually toe tapping song of this movie. I think
That's a good one.
I think they're all quite toe tapping, to be fair. I could see you on the cameras boogieing yesterday when you listened to some of them. I was like, yeah, I'm boogieing as well.
I mean, I beg to differ, but okay.
That's
Bah,
you.
humbug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
humbug to you.
I didn't like it because they were Christmas songs. I don't like Christmas.
Humbug to you, Dora Bummer.
So the only Christmas film I like watching isn't even a Christmas film. A Halloween film.
Not meant
Die
for
Hard.
Christmas.
Yeah. The Halloween film. It's not even a Christmas film.
But yeah,
like
obviously we watched sort of Scrooge have a little dance as well during this point, which is quite funny to watch since Michael Caine's obviously played the character very stern up to this point. Which is he did that because he requested to play like that. He went to Brian Henson and was like, "Okay, I want to play this character as if I was doing it on like a stage show, like really serious and whatnot." And he's like, "Okay, then go for it." And that's why he was so like really, really sort of serious up to this point, is because he was doing it like he was just on a stage show. I swear I read something like he didn't interact with many people. He just did it like, to make him like seem more grumpier. And obviously then it worked out. And that's why it looks quite odd when he's having a little boogie at one point. He's like, cha-cha-cha. He's getting really all happy and everything. Obviously,
Still in his pajamas.
yeah, he's still in his pajamas at this point. Who isn't though? I'm half in pajamas at the moment.
I think
Get
the reason
dressed,
why he acts like a bit more freely is because he went into his past.
Yeah,
He's reconnected with his childhood.
So
that's why.
slowly but surely, he's becoming more of a nice guy.
He's trying to show that he's becoming more happy and friendly. I mean, we've all we've all seen this story, so we kind of know what's going to happen.
Pretty much.
You all know it changes. I mean, we've all watched the Doctor Who episode, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, I have. That's the one with Michael Gambon, isn't it? Of King's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, that episode, the Barbie version and the Jim Carrey is the only thing I've really seen of Carol. But
has anyone ever seen the Flintstones version?
No.
There's a Flintstones version where obviously it's Fred Flintstone as Scrooge. I had it on VHS back in the day. That's how old it is.
Oh my god.
I have to try and see if I can find it somewhere on the internet, but there's literally a Flintstones version, which is hilarious because it's Flintstones. The shame it's not like a Scooby-Doo version. That'd be quite cool. Scooby-Doo's Scrooge. And there's the Mickey Mouse version where it's Scrooge McDuck, which makes sense because Scrooge McDuck, which is quite good as well. But yeah, anyway, you know what to say, Hayden? Now,
huh?
You know your line right now, don't you?
Bah humbug. What?
Back to the movie.
I wasn't paying attention.
Neither was I. What?
You're kind of boring, Tom. I'll be honest.
And you're offensive.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Chatter Cave.
Bit late. Obviously, he goes then, takes Scrooge because he's Scrooge. Like, I want to see my friends and family. He's like, okay, let's go see your nephew, and he takes him to his nephew Fred's house. Where inside we see Fred, and obviously his family and friends, playing charades. Obviously, Fred's turn, so they question him about this stuff. He's like, oh, what is it? Oh, it's something that's not liked. Oh, is it a cockroach? No. Oh, I know it is. It's not liked. It's not a cockroach. It's not all these other things. It's your Uncle Scrooge. And obviously they're all cheering. Because it's funny, because up to that point, Scrooge was really getting into the charades. He's like, oh, it's this, it's that. Oh, I said that first. And then as soon as they say it's his name, he's like, oh.
Hey, Tom, did you recognise who she was as well? He's whatever she is to him.
Who?
She's from In-Betweeners. It's Simon's mum.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Like during the film, I was like, "Oh my god, that's Simon's mum." And like a picture is like the weird like sex things he did with Simon's dad, and the weird like moments. That's all I could think of when I was watching that.
No, I didn't know that. But I do now.
See, I know things as well.
Hello, this is Simon's mum. I'm calling Simon Mumpy today.
Food poisoning.
Listen here, Mrs. Mackenzie. Oh, is it Mackenzie? No, what's the name? Mackenzie's fucking. Oh, we're getting off topic again.
Oh yeah. It's gonna bug me now.
Wait,
It's gonna bug me as well.
You Google it later. Obviously, Scrooge obviously sad at this point now. He's like, "Oh, take me to Bob's house," and he goes to see Bob. And at Bob's house, Gonzo and Rizzo, chill on the roof while Rizzo points at the cooking goose. He's like, But Gonzo starts sweeping the chimney. He's like, "Hey, don't sweep the chimney now. I can smell the goose." And we then cut inside where we see Bob's wife, aka Miss Piggy, and her family are pigs and frogs. Belinda, what's the other one? Belinda. Balls. I can't remember the names. Is it someone like Melinda or something like that?
Miss Piggy 1, Miss Piggy 2,
and Kermit 2.
Rip off Kermit.
But yeah, obviously we meet all these quickly before Rizzo falls from the roof and down the chimney where he lands on the goose and burns his feet. Piggy starts eating the food, and obviously her daughter, again I can't remember which one off the top of my head, she's it's like, "Oh, why are you eating the food? You can't eat it till Dad gets back." And she's like, "Oh, I'm just testing it." And then she awkwardly gets her daughter's name wrong. It's like, "It's Belinda." And then she stalks the other one, and then she says the one's name to her, and she's like, "It's Belinda." She's like, "Oh, ooh." And we then get outside where we hear Bob and Ty and Tim singing it, obviously skipping down the street. And they head into the house where Bob is greeted by his family and just rugby tackle him to the ground, pretty much. I've noticed that every time Kermit sees his family in one of these films, he always gets rugby tackled to the ground. That poor frog, he just gets beat up by his family.
So he got a divorce from Miss Piggy, man.
I say,
Yeah.
There's a whole plot point of the Office Space TV series they did was just him getting divorced.
There's an Office Space series.
They did like one series literally just called The Muppets, which is like taking the piss at The Office. And there's a
Oh,
whole plot point where obviously he's getting divorced from Miss Piggy.
I had no idea about this.
It's on Disney Plus. You can watch it on
I mean,
there.
all I really know about the Muppets is
It's got a lot.
the Warburton adverts.
It's got a lot of like famous people in it, like celebrities. You got the guy who played the main Finn in Sharknado in it, the main character. He's in like an episode because he was in. Oh, I'm trying to remember the TV show. Was it 90210? I think he was in or something like that. It was some like old American show. He was in like that, and obviously it was to do with that. He was in it. But it's like people like Reese Witherspoon. She's in it.
Oh.
There's quite a few. Like she's in like a feud with Miss Piggy in it. They hate each other because she keeps stealing Piggy's roles apparently. But yeah, it's not that bad. It obviously got cancelled because it didn't get many views, but it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I've now lost my train of thought again.
Good.
So yeah, they have a go to dinner table. That's it, and we see how ill Tiny Tim is because obviously he starts coughing. He's struggling to get onto the table. Connor's crying right now, and Piggy then asks how the church was. Which, it was fine. And obviously at the table, Bob asked them to toast Scrooge, but this angers Piggy, mocks Scrooge and says how much she hates him. And obviously all the kids are like, yeah, here. And she obviously shuts up as soon as Tiny Tim's like, oh, bless Mr. Scrooge. And she's like, oh, yeah, fine, bless him. And Tim starts singing the song Bless Us All. This obviously causes a tear to come to his eye. The whole family start to get involved. Connor's again crying right now. It's like Scrooge.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, waiting for the kid to die because I don't know why. There was just something about the way the kid was portrayed that it pissed me off. Just the happiness. I'm like,
You leave Tim alone.
Yeah,
I want Tim to suffer. Okay, little Timmy can suffer.
Fuck, my screen.
Oh, shit.
It went black for a second. My screen did, but it's fine. So yeah, obviously they start singing. Everyone starts slowly getting involved, and the song ends, and obviously Tim starts coughing really badly, which worries the family. Scrooge then questions the spirit on what happens to Tiny Tim, but he points out he doesn't know this for the fact that he's the present, not the future. And at this point, the spirit is getting really grey, slowly dying, and he's like, "Oh, my time has come. If this isn't corrected, Tiny Tim will die, and Connor will cry." And obviously he takes into like a graveyard before slowly disappearing. He's like, "Oh, when it comes 12, the bells will ring again. The last ghost will arrive," and then obviously disappears in like this light show, this illumination light show, and Scrooge's like, "Oh, I'm alone," and like this massive fog just comes in, and it do and covers the area, and Scrooge is obviously bumbling around before he stumbles into the ghost of Christmas yet to come, who's basically just a giant reaper, and he tells the ghost he fears him the most, which is you've seen the porcelain doll, sure you got to fear that more than this.
Sure.
And obviously, at this point, there, Gonzo and Rizzo's like, "Yeah, no, screw this, we're out. See you at the finale, we're out." Shuts the door and runs off.
Honestly, those two are little pussies. Seriously, it wasn't that fucking scary.
Oh, I was scared more of the doll than this.
Yeah, that was more scary. It was fucking ugly.
Danny,
That looked like
a Barbie rendition. I don't know. You've done that. That's terrifying.
But yeah, obviously Scrooge tries to question the ghost, but he keeps pointing without saying any words because he's the mute ghost, and he points to like a big portal that appears, and they're like, "Oh, let's go," and then they obviously head off for the portal, and the ghost shows the future. The two reappear on a rainy street where they watch over a group of pedestrians talking about someone dying and basically ridiculing this unknown dead man. Scrooge's like, "Oh, who are they on about?" And he's just like, the ghost just points at the alleyway, so Scrooge heads down there. So he's like a spider-looking motherfucker, and then he's like, "What you got for me?" And they start handing like different items, like his bed sheets. Like, "Oh, but this is still warm. I don't pay for extra warmth." And
Oh, you should.
so she's like, "Yeah, you should." And obviously they'll start laughing. He's like, Oh, I don't want to see us anymore. Oh, he starts crying at this point. He's like, oh, take me to Bob's house. And he goes there and it's like, oh, I'm all happy again there. It's like a really happy place. Why is it so dull here now? And he's like, why is no one happy anymore? And obviously the ghost points at the window, so Scrooge has a little look through the window, a little bit peeping Tom. And he sees inside, Piggy's all sad now, she's all crying. Connor's starting to cry again.
Yep.
And
This is the scene that gets me.
this is the scene that Connor walked off camera
I'm
because he
giggling in the
couldn't take it.
I'm
And
just giggling in the background, enjoying it.
obviously the sad because well, Tiny Tim has died. And
Good,
obviously this saddens Scrooge. For Bob arrives and tells Piggy that he should have come to the graveyard since it's beautiful, and that Tim would have loved the fact that his grave was watching over the lake where the ducks were, because Tim loved the ducks. And Scrooge is like, is you aware of this future? And the spirit, he remains silent, and we watch as the family grieve and kind of grieves for the loss of Tiny Tim.
It's just a little pan across, and he got his chair and his little hat and his coat and everything's there, and I'm just like. Nah, man. Like it just gets me every time.
Yeah. The spirit then takes Scrooge back to the graveyard where Scrooge asks the spirit to tell him who the man was that died, and obviously what made everyone happy. The ghost then raises his finger again towards the tombstone. Scrooge then tells him that the future can change and everything can be made right. Scrooge approaches the tombstone and gets rid of the snow covering it to reveal the name. And obviously this strikes fear into him and causes him to cry, since the man in question was Ebenezer Scrooge.
Bum bum bum.
And obviously he runs over to the spirit, grabs him by his cloak, and he's like, "Oh, spirit, please make this all change. We can fix it all." And obviously as he does this, obviously the cloak fades into his bed sheet. Well, he's sort of curtain around his bed, wasn't it? And he obviously falls over, and he's sort of sat on the floor before, he realizes, oh wait. I can change. I'm back to normal. And obviously he runs off. He's like, it's a miracle. He's all happy now. Scrooge is really happy as anything. Gonzo Rizzo question if they're safe on the window ledge. But Gonzo's like, oh, we should be fine there. And Scrooge just opens the window and knocks them both out again. Like a recurring joke is just them getting knocked out by windows.
Quite good, actually, because I want them to, fall out the window again, get unconscious and not talk again.
Well, it's not going to stop them because the Muppets not real people.
Damn it.
And obviously outside, Scrooge looks down and sees that rabbit from the start. He's on the street. He's like, "Oh, you there, boy? What day is it?" He's like, "What day is it, Governor? It's Christmas Day."
Go off there.
I like shoving the governor in there.
And this is where he pulls out his really weird poor magazine from Happy Murder thing.
I say he looks like the rabbit from Happy Time. He's got to be the rabbit from Happy Time Murders, but as a kid,
Yeah, that's got to be a joke.
it's got to be. But yeah, obviously he doesn't shit eggs in this version. But this version, obviously, he's like, "Oh, what do you want?" And then he's like, "Oh, that turkey in the shop down the window." He's like, "The one that's bigger than me?" He's like, "Yeah, go and buy that for me." "Are you mad?" And he's like, "Here, he's like, it's like, what does he say? It's a shilling he offers him at first.
Yeah, he offers him one shilling.
And he's like,
and
"No,
then he's
no,
like,
I have 4 or 5, yeah. Ignore me."
And he throws a bag at him. He's like, "Woof."
Yeah, he gets knocked out by the bag. He's like, "Oh, okay," and he runs off. Definitely not to steal this money, because often a bag of money is the right thing to do, because he's definitely not going to run away, but he doesn't. So good for him. Scrooge then makes it to the street level and begins to wish Merry Christmas to everyone before finding the charity collectors. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for what I said here." He whispers in his ear, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to offer you this much money." We don't hear how much money it is, but you can tell by the look on the guy's face that it was a lot of money, because he was like, "Oh, that's too generous of you." He's like, "Oh, I wish we had something we could give you in return." And he's like, "Here, have my scarf." Bobby's like, me, puts a scarf on. He's like, thank you very much."
Adding colour to the really dark clothes person. Honestly.
Well, you got to catch Jack the Ripper somehow.
I think it's a disgrace. Honestly, he should have kept the whole dark, grungy stuff and still, didn't give money to the poor. Fuck them.
The rabbit then arrives with the turkey, which leads to Scrooge beginning to sing "A Thankful Heart" as he heads through the city, being, kind spirit now. he makes it to his office, places baskets of coal for his workers the next day, before rushing down to his nephew Fred to hand him a present. Obviously, he's shocked, Fred is. He's like, what? But his wife's like, oh, yay! And obviously he rushes off again, finds Sam the Eagle and Fozzie Bear in like a retirement home and gives them some presents. Sam just shakes it by his ears, not too sure. He's like, pretty breakable, he's probably broke it now. And obviously he heads off and starts handing gifts round to people on the streets, like the little mice in the war, and the poor people. He's giving them like food and everything. And obviously then he makes it all the way to Bob's house, where obviously the song ends, and he gets everyone to run away and hide. But he knocks the door and stands there. He's like, okay, looks next to him, and the rabbit's still there. The rabbit just runs off, and obviously when he runs off, the door is opened by Bob, and he's just like, oh, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, you're meant to be at work. He's like, no, you gave us the time off. He's like, I don't remember doing that. And he's like, it starts getting all great with him. He's like sort of getting really angry, and the next minute fucking Miss Piggy barges there and starts to argue with him. So I was like, oh, I ordered to bust you one. Because Miss Piggy just likes to beat up every single person. She's probably why they did that whole Kung Fu thing in the Muppets movie a few years back. It went all Kung Fu and she beat up Jack Black. Never mind. But
That's supposed to be a joke, Tom.
yeah, it's an actual scene in it. They did like a Kung Fu sequence where fucking the Swedish chef's all in like Kung Fu. He's like got his face like sort of covered and everything. He's like, whoa! And they're going just beating up Jack Black. It's an actual scene in it.
Oh.
They kidnapped Jack Black in the movie.
Okay.
Don't know why. It's because they need him for for a big celebrity to get this show off the ground, or else they can't do it. So they just kidnap Jack Black, but they do like sort of knock him out. Essentially, Miss Piggy just swings down from the rafters and just knocks him unconscious.
I'm guessing this is before he became a YouTuber.
Yes, it's like 2011, I think, 2012, something like that.
Okay. Before he grew his hair out and big bushy beard and sits there talking to PewDiePie. Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, Piggy's threatening Scrooge, but she stops when she hears Scrooge say, "What did he say?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to raise your salary, Bob, and pay for the mortgage on your house." And he's like, "Merry Christmas." And he's like, "What?" And they're all happy now. They're all friends. Piggy, they invite him in. The whole city come walking in. They'll fill out this little tiny house. They're all sitting at a table, and obviously Tiny Tim's on Scrooge's lap because he didn't die now. Obviously Hayden was sad at this point. He's still alive.
My boy made it.
Obviously, they point out Scrooge is basically his second dad to him. But obviously, he starts having a little singing song as well, and it's like what's the song he starts? I can't remember the song he starts singing, but he says God bless us everyone, and it starts playing into a song.
I don't know.
I can't remember the song off the top of my head.
I think it feels like Christmas again.
I think it fades into that one, doesn't it?
I think at that point I was probably like almost half asleep.
I swear I can see you on camera before I've fallen asleep. I think it fades into that. I can't remember. I swear it's a different song at first and it fades into it, but that does play as the credits start to roll and the movie ends. So you're not wrong there. I just can't remember. I swear there's another song around there, but oh well. Yeah, that's the Muppets Christmas Carol, and I think it's time for the overalls.
The big overalls.
Overall for me, I've always loved this film ever since I watched it years and years ago. It's practically on every Christmas day on Channel 4, every fucking Christmas day. So I at least watch it twice every December. So the story is great as it always is, and it's even better here since it involves the Muppets, which means the acting is as great as it usually is for Muppet films. Obviously non-Muppet related, Michael Caine's as perfect as always because it's Michael fucking Caine. Perfect choice for Scrooge. Perfect choice. You played him so great. As you say, which isn't a shock since it's Michael Caine. If he played a character bad, we'd be like worried about him. The set design is amazing. They really captured the look of the Christmas Carol perfectly, and obviously they downscaled it to match the sort of Muppet characters, which is perfect as it usually is for these Muppet movies. The costume department did a great job dressing all the Muppets up and all the human characters to sort of match the time frame. Obviously, the puppeteers did a great job puppeteering the Muppets. The music is just phenomenal. I love the track. I love the soundtrack for this movie. It always gets me a Christmas spirit. What else we got? The cinematography is decent as well. It's very good. As it obviously the Muppet movie, so the comedy is as good as it always is for Muppet-based films. And obviously, this is a great way of starting the end of a shit year that is 2020. And I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, and I've run out of things to say. So I'm just gonna say this is a great movie. Watching it again, swayed my rating up a bit, and obviously talking to you, Connor, at work about this a few weeks ago, that sort of swayed my rating up a bit. I was like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. So I'm going to give the Muppets Christmas Carol a 10 out of 10 and declare it the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Better than Gremlins for me, and I love that movie.
Wait for Hayden's
I'll
thoughts on
let
it.
you, Connor. I'll let you go next because we'll save the controversial one to the last.
Well, I mean, Tom covered absolutely everything, pretty much. Anyway,
Yeah.
he went over everything. Watching it now, I think there's outdated parts, obviously, like, I know he's cut things, but I think some of the songs are for the better, like, after rewatching the song that they cut from the bench, like, that is so weird, like, it totally takes out the Muppets thing, like, it doesn't even feel like the same film, so basing it not on that version, but the new, like, with the cuts in, I've got to give it 10 out of 10 as well. Straight up.
Greatest Christmas movie of all time.
And then we get to me.
1 out of 10.
It was an okay film for me. It was a bit dull. I gotta be honest. The only good thing was it was Michael Caine, and that was about it. For me, the humor didn't hit, but it might have been because I'm not, a small child like Tom. So,
Pedo.
it was alright. Well, someone's got to do it. James in here.
Fair enough. Go on, Kevin
But
Spacey, carry on.
Yeah, it was. To me, it was just okay. It was. Obviously, the story is done good, but it's not really their story, so you can't really give them credits for that because it's written by Charles Dickens.
Talk about Charles Dickens was in it.
That wasn't fucking Charles Dickens.
It was. He knew the story off the back of his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, like personally, for me, it probably would have been better if it didn't have those narrations. Personally, they just seemed a bit more for the kids, really, and I don't like kids, so that's probably altering my perception here of this film.
Don't like kids. Gave Dora a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, because Dora's a fucking great film. Okay, and just to rub that in, Tom, I think the film is average. So I'm going to give it a 6, and all 6 of those points go to Michael Caine. So yeah, if it wasn't Michael Caine, it probably would have got a lower rating.
I'm going to drop my Dora rating there just for that.
Yeah, well, fuck you. If you do that, then I'll drop this rating.
Go for it.
You can't see it, but I'm moving it. And if you do, if you drop Dora, this goes to a 1. Okay?
Try it, bitch.
Yeah. Fuck, you can't see, but I've got my finger up at you. Fuck you.
So that gives it a Chat Cave rating overall of. I'm going to go a bit higher than that for the fact that two of us gave it a 10. 8.5. Something like that.
That's totally maths.
I just closed my eyes and just went for a number.
Math.
Well, do what you did last.
Right
Do
now.
what you
do
did
the
last
math right
time. I laugh. It's right again. Last time we did this, Connor, I guessed 9.7. I was right. I think I'm wrong this time. I definitely am wrong. I reckon it's like 8.3. There's no just waiting for it to do the maths.
Right that way.
8.22 recurring.
It should round up to 3.
What rating did you say, Tom?
Originally I said 5, but then I reckoned it was better 3.
It's no, what did you say? What your guess was?
My guess off the top of my head was 8.5. Then I felt like it was an 8.3.
8.6 recurring,
Oh,
so it's 8.7
I
technically.
went really low with that then. Okay, then so
Yeah.
Muppets Christmas Carol gets an 8.7.
Mm.
That's
Or 8.666666666.
so just
Satan.
put a satanic symbol over it. Okay.
Yeah.
So my question of the day is: what other sort of classic stories like this and Treasure Island could work as a Muppets movie?
Oh, I know. Perfect, hands down, the perfect one. Star Wars.
Well, that'd be interesting. That would.
A Star Wars Muppets. I think that'd actually be kind of cool.
That'd be really cool. I was thinking something like Ghostbusters would also work.
Hmm.
That's quite a classic story, and that'd be quite interesting to see them shit themselves over ghosts. Oh, it was the ghost of all the ones that were killed in Happy Time Murders.
Oh my god, that'd be cool. Can you imagine like a Happy Time Murders recreation, but Muppets?
Oh, that'd be quite cool. Harry Potter would also work.
Yeah, but then there's the controversy, shall we say, that's going on right now.
I'm trying to think of other things that could work. Yeah, but Spinner it.
Jurassic Park.
Fast and Furious. Kermit the Frog.
Right at the end.
Remember always the best.
Oh,
like-
look at the Rocky.
Oh yes, Miss Piggy is Rocky Balboa.
No, the Swedish Chef.
Oh, that's a good point. Swedish Chef. He could definitely be like a Stallone type character.
Rambo.
Rambo.
Oh my god.
You
Die
take my heart, it ain't yours.
And kind of like slasher film, but like it's a Muppet version instead.
Oh, there's literally a fuck ton of things that could work as Muppets, which would just be hilarious.
Can you imagine like it's like a Friday the 13th one, but like it's Kermit as Jason. So instead of like no talking, like, hey there, yeah, I'm gonna kill you now. Yep.
Nah, Pink is Jason.
Imagine Batman vs Superman, the ending. Save Piggy. What do you say her name?
Martha.
You say save Piggy instead of save Martha.
Do like the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
like, and then the third one, Animal as Bane.
Oh, the Spider-Man
Michael
trilogy.
Michael
my
Caine.
God.
playing.
Fucking Kermit as Spider-Man.
Oh, there's so many we could talk about, but we're not going to talk about all of them because they're just.
Indiana Jones.
Oh, imagine the Witcher. Kermit Geralt.
Oh,
No, Mandalorian. Kermit is Mando, and Tiny Tim is Baby Yoda.
Oh my god.
There's literally that many ideas we could do. John Wick, that'd be interesting. Kermit came out, Piggy got killed, so he goes and kills everyone. Oh yeah. So yeah, we'll cut that short because there's way too many we could think of. So that's it for Chat Cave podcast this week. Join hopefully the four of us next week. Fingers crossed.
Let's see. Oh, hang on, Tom. I can hear breathing. James, come on, resuscitate ya. Hello, it's me, James. Yeah, I'm okay.
Why does he sound like Kermit?
I've been possessed by Kermit here. Oh no.
We're going to obviously discuss how the Grinch stole Christmas. But until then, I've been your host, Jan King Thomas Hughes.
I've been Hayden. I've been James. Hey James, how can you come in already? Hey Kermit. Yeah, funny. I like that, James. Good.
Thanks for joining us, Connor.
No worries.
And this has been Chat Cave Podcast. And after watching this movie, I hope that free spirits visit Hayden and teach her how to treat her employees a lot better. Bye, have a Merry Christmas.
That's not going to work. That's not going to
Peace
happen.
out.